Hi everyone, welcome to my WrestleMania 31 preview and predictions video. It has been a long time since I've done anything on YouTube to do with wrestling, so kind of bear with me really, I'm just kind of getting back into it. Yes, so WrestleMania is tomorrow night, hope everybody's looking forward to it. Kind of thinking about the show, I just wanted to mention a few things before I got into the actual card itself and sort of gave my predictions. I suppose the general consensus is that the build-up to this show hasn't been brilliant. It doesn't feel like there's that much going on. There's not that excitement in the air that you normally get with a WrestleMania week. That being said, I am still looking forward to the show. It's taken me longer to kind of get into the mood really with WrestleMania. I suppose comparing it to last year, there was such a big storyline involving somebody that a lot of people really cared about, and they just seem to do more just to build up the tension and the atmosphere. The documentary on Daniel Bryan's Road to WrestleMania that came out just before the show was a really nice touch because it kind of got you excited, and there hasn't really been anything like that with Reigns and Lesnar this year. I'll get on to the main event in a little bit, but it just feels like there's something missing. It kind of feels like there's something off about the matches that we've got this year. I'm excited for Triple H and Sting. I'm excited for Wyatt versus Taker, but it just kind of feels like something's not right, we all wanted Sting versus Taker. Will Wyatt and Taker be a compelling match now that Taker's lost his streak? Because all these little things that come into it. But I hope that it's going to be a good show. If nothing else, if the match quality is good and it's relatively easy to sit through for the 4 hours, then I will go away happy. Just wanted to mention a couple of matches that I think really should have been on the card that weren't, and it's a bit of a shame. Firstly, Goldust versus Cody Rhodes is something I really wanted to see. After Fastlane, they were kind of teasing Stardust kind of turning back into Cody Rhodes. He's doing really well to play off the fan reaction where they're chanting Cody at him, and I just think he would benefit from sort of going back to the Cody Rhodes character because there was something there before he kind of turned into Stardust. I wanted to see this match at WrestleMania. We got it at Fastlane, but it kind of just felt like it went under the radar. And it was also Goldust versus Stardust, whereas I wanted to see Goldust versus Cody Rhodes. Potentially with, Dusty Rhodes as the special guest referee. I think that could have worked quite well, but hey-ho. I also think Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler probably should have been just a genuine one-on-one match on the card. I think both guys deserve better than where they are. And again, I'll go on to the IC title match in a minute. But I just think these two could go out and kind of steal the show. Everybody wants to see these two wrestle. You don't really need that much of a big storyline going into it. Just the fact that these will both be in the ring for 10-15 minutes. I think people would really would have appreciated that, and it would have been an asset to the card. But Miz and Mizdow, again, I think they deserve much better than what they've got. They're both in the Battle Royal, which is likely to be on the pre-show. If there's one thing that's got me through the recent Raws, it's the comic relief that is provided by Miz and Mizdow. I suppose you could say they're not having the match here, which means they can kind of continue the storyline, because it doesn't feel like there's any reason to end the storyline necessarily. But it's WrestleMania, and I think it kind of shows that the WWE aren't really that bothered about pushing Miz down and letting him sort of get or take anything from this feud with the Miz. So a little bit worried for his future, really. It would have been nice to see these two go at it. But and then finally, Dean Ambrose versus anyone really. Similar situation to Bryan and Ziggler. He's a very popular guy. He's going places, obviously. Why not give him a signature match at WrestleMania where it actually means something? Off the top of my head, you could bring somebody back, maybe like a Chris Jericho or a Christian or someone like that, someone from the past that you could go against, maybe just to get a signature win. But that's the way it is. It is what it is, and this is the card that we've got. So just going into the card itself, I'm not going to talk about every match. I think the Divas tag team match might be quite good, and I would like to see AJ and Paige win that. The Fatal 4-Way tag team match, I personally don't really care who wins that match. I haven't really been following the storyline on Raw. I tend to skip anything that involves the tag teams. Hopefully it'll be a good match, but again, I don't think it really matters who comes out the champion. But anyway, so Yes, if we start off with the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which, like I say, is probably going to be on the pre-show, it's sad in a way. I mean, apart from guys like Miz, Mizdow, Ryback, it just feels like these are the guys that couldn't get on the card, and the WWE have just kind of shoved them anywhere they could find them. There's definitely a pecking order. I mean, people that the company care about have got a signature main event match, and then the IC title is kind of filled with people that they kind of care about but didn't really know what to do with right now. The Battle Royal is kind of one step below that. It's like people who they literally don't have a clue what to do with them. They just want to get them on the WrestleMania card just so they can get that payout. I'm not generally a fan of Battle Royals anyway, so I'm not massively looking forward to this match at all. But if there was going to be anyone to win from this, I'd probably say Ryback. I think he would be a good winner of this. You know, he's the type of character that suits Battle Royals. Like, logically speaking, he should do quite well in Battle Royals given his size. So it makes sense from a sort of kayfabe point of view. And I also think it would just be like a nice little moniker for him. You know, the fact, you know, when they introduce him, or if he's doing a promo, we can say, you know, I won the second Andre the Giant Battle Royal. It's just something he could use. I mean, if anyone really thinks that winning this match is going to lead on to something great in the future, just look at Cesaro. You know, I don't think you should expect the winner of this match to go on to great things. I just think, if nothing else, it's something that Ryback can mention that he's done. Kind of, you know, another string to his bow, I suppose. So I'd like to see Ryback come out of that. I mean, I would like to see a Ryback-Cesaro feud heading into 2015. I don't think we've really had that yet. You know, given Cesaro's strength and Ryback's size, I think it could work quite well. And then if Ryback was to win the Battle Royal, it's something that they could, you know, feud over as a kind of centerpiece for the feud. So yeah, hopefully Ryback comes out the winner of this. So yeah, the IC title ladder match. I've said it before. I mean, there's guys in there that I think probably deserve a little bit better, particularly Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose. But it's not so much that they have been put in this match. It's the fact that even in the context of the match, they're a little bit of an afterthought, which is a real big shame considering the position that Bryan was in this time last year, the position that Ziggler had at Survivor Series not that long ago. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the match itself. I think there's some good guys in there. I think there'd be some good spots and everything like that. People are predicting Sheamus to come out and interrupt, which I don't think makes a lot of sense. I don't know how they're going to do it, but if he's coming out just to interrupt the match so that he can win the IC title, I mean, Sheamus is a guy that has won the WWE Championship before. He's won the World Heavyweight Championship before. He's been out for all this time. Why would he come back for the IC title? You know, it doesn't really make any sense. Maybe if they're using it as a catalyst for a feud between him and somebody like Bryan or Ziggler, fine, but I just don't think it would make sense in a WrestleMania. I think if they're going to bring back Sheamus, then I think the next night on Raw is probably the best time to do it. In terms of a prediction, this is kind of more in hope than expectation, but I'm going to say Dean Ambrose for this match. The reason I say that is because if you think about previous WrestleManias, particularly, say, WrestleMania 21, I've heard people talk about the Fortunate Four that came out of that show, so Edge, Cena, Orton, Batista. And if there's going to be a Fortunate Four to come out of Mania 31, it really has to be Ambrose, Reigns, Rollins and Bray Wyatt. So I think whatever they're involved in, those four should have big signature moments and hopefully victories. So I just think this would be good for Ambrose, just so he could say he's done something at WrestleMania 31, and it could potentially be a catalyst for him. I don't know, but you know, if they're serious about using this guy in the future, then he's going to need a big win, and this is the biggest he can manage tomorrow. So go with Ambrose for that. Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. I think this match could steal the show. I think the in-ring quality of this will be really good. I think the storyline leading up to it has been good and compelling. Yeah, I mean, Rollins really has to win this. You know, let's be honest. I don't really see there's any point in Orton getting the victory here. You know, 10, 15 years in the future, looking back on this card, you'd like to think, you know, that's the moment Rollins kind of stepped out as a proper main eventer. I mean, I know, you know, he has had matches for the title in the past. He's fought Lesnar and Cena, but this would really kind of cement him as a consistent main eventer. And I think, you know, a win of Randy Orton would really, really help him to do that. Hopefully it's clean. mean, I want to see as little J&J security involvement as possible. You know, if anything, I'd like to see them get ejected from ringside after the first couple of minutes, because I just would rather see a nice, clean match. Hopefully Rollins gets win at the end. But knowing the WWE, I will take a non-clean finish for this if it means Rollins gets the win. I just think he needs to come out of this somehow with the win. Okay. John Cena versus Rusev. These aren't in any particular order, by the way. I'm just kind of listing them up. I don't know what the card's going to be like yet. But Cena versus Rusev. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I think Cena's going to win this, guys. I don't see it going any other way, to be honest. Maybe it's because I'm resigning myself to the fact that Cena's going to win. But I've started to think recently, would it be a massive shame if Rusev was to lose this? I mean, the problem with Rusev at the minute is that, you look at The Undertaker in these later years, his main purpose is to come back for a WrestleMania and not lose and continue the streak. And that kind of became his whole character. And now that he did lose last year, there's question marks about whether he really needs to be in this show, like what the match with Wyatt's going to be like and all these kind of things. I think Rusev's kind of heading the same way, but in a very sort of minor example of that. People are just kind of just waiting for Rusev to either be pinned or to submit. And I think as soon as he does that, it's kind of like, where do you go from here? Whereas if they just nip it in the bud, I mean, there's no, in the kayfabe world anyway, there's no shame losing to John Cena. He is like the franchise piece, the top guy. And it could just be, a chance to change direction for Rusev. Maybe he could just maybe go on to something slightly different, maybe have a bit of an evolution of his character, and just forget this kind of never been pinned, never been submitted type thing, because eventually it's going to have to happen anyway, and he's going to have to move forward from this. So I do expect to see Cena win, and I hope it doesn't damage Rusev too much. It'd be nice to see Cena make Rusev pass out rather than tap out, but again, getting Rusev to tap out might just be the kind of final sort of, right, that's that bit of it over, let's just continue with this guy because we do think he's a serious challenger for the title maybe in a year or two. So that's that. I think it would be a good match as well. I think Cena does bring out his best at WrestleMania. So. Okay, and then into the last sort of three matches, probably the ones I'm looking forward to the most, really. Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. I mean, it's one of these rare occasions where I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. I don't even want to venture a prediction because it could go either way. The only thing I'm worrying about is if they go with Taker for the win, kind of in terms of, from Bray Wyatt's perspective anyway, it's kind of like, does Taker still carry that advantage? Does he still rub off on other people that he's in the ring with now that he's lost his streak? If you look back at, say, WrestleMania 29 against Punk, Punk lost the match, but you could still say, well, Punk's still been part of that 21-man streak storyline. Whereas Wyatt doesn't even get that. He's fighting a guy that's already lost his streak, and this is just a random post-streak Mania match. And if Wyatt loses, it's like, okay, well, where did that come from? Is it still a big deal that he had a match with Taker at Mania? I suppose it is, but not being for the streak, there's just a problem with that, really. And also another thing I'm worried about is whether they're going to use this as a plot device to build up Sting versus Taker, and if they're thinking, well, if we're going to have Sting versus Taker at 32, Taker obviously has to go over Wyatt here to look strong. I really don't agree with that, and I'm even questioning whether if they're going to go with Sting Taker next year. I mean, I've heard rumours that it could be like a double retirement match or something, and it would make sense. I mean, talk about Undertaker maybe should have retired after losing his streak. Well, if he's going to face Sting in a year's time, there's nowhere else for him to go after that, because that's the one match that everybody's been kind of waiting for. So if it is a retirement match, then does Taker really need the win this year? I mean, people are going to be excited for Sting versus Taker, whatever the circumstances are, because we've been waiting for it for so long. I think Wyatt needs this victory. I hope Taker. I think from Taker's point of view, knowing the kind of guy that he is, I'm sure he would kind of agree with us and think that Wyatt should maybe get the win over here. But obviously, it is Vince's decision at the end of the day, and we'll kind of see where they go. But really hoping for a Wyatt win here. I'm going to predict a Wyatt win, and just because that's what I want to happen. But it could go either way. Yeah, and then Sting versus Triple H. I mean, out of all the matches in terms of build-up storyline, this has been the best one. They've done a really good job of building this up. A lot of people are excited about this. I'm not going to go into it too much. I just think it doesn't make any sense for Triple H to win this. I think you have to go with Sting. They've been framing it in a kind of WCW versus WWE type way, like the last guy that didn't submit to Vince McMahon, the WCW franchise piece, coming back and scoring like a minor victory over the company that eventually sort of put them out of business. I think the match is going to be good. I think it's not the match everybody was expecting to see or wanting to see, but there's still a lot of history and storyline to this. And Sting has to get the win here, just because who knows what's going to happen next year. I mean, you might be predicting a Sting Taker match next year, but it might not happen. Both guys are quite old. It just makes sense for Sting to win. If this is his only Mania match, then it would be a crying shame if he were to lose it to Triple H. But it is Triple H. You never know what you're going to get from a Triple H match. When I saw him beat CM Punk after that big Summer of Punk storyline, I just realised this isn't a guy that puts people over if he doesn't want to. So we'll see what happens. But Sting's obviously a different sort of character to CM Punk, but yeah, hopefully Sting wins this. And then to the main event. It's not a main event that I've been particularly looking forward to, especially considering last year's main event. I don't know. They've tried their best, I think, with Reigns. I think that they've had a plan from the start, which I got to give WWE credit for, because they do get a lot of stick at the minute for not really having a long-term vision. I mean, I think plans were in place to have this match as the main event, probably last year's WrestleMania. I think the idea of Lesnar beating Taker, taking his streak off him, like the storyline from there is that they need to build somebody up to face the guy that beat The Undertaker and have that ultimate sort of babyface rub from somebody like a Brock Lesnar. Despite what happened at the Royal Rumble, they stuck to it. Okay, yeah, they did throw in that mini feud with Daniel Bryan, but they were always going to go with Reigns for this match. And I just think if you're going to go this way with Reigns, if he is going to be your next guy, then if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? This is WrestleMania. Who knows what the company is going to be like in a year's time, what people are going to make of Roman Reigns in a year's time. If you're going to do it now, because there's no other time to do it, really. I think Vince is generally worried that Reigns doesn't get the unanimous positive reaction that a babyface should have. But then you've got to say, well, we don't live in the Hogan era anymore. There are very few guys that get that kind of reaction these days. And even a guy like Daniel Bryan, you'd probably say on a good day, maybe 90% of the people are behind him. On an average day, it can be as low as maybe 75%. There are still people who like the dissenting voices. There are still people who turn up to shows just to boo for the sake of it. There are people who have differences of opinion. You're not going to please everybody. I think Reigns is pretty much in the best position he's going to be in at the moment, so I don't think it's going to get any better if he doesn't get the victory tomorrow night. So I'm going to predict a Reigns win, just because that seems to be the plan, and I think WWE are going to stick with it, because they've stuck with everything else sort of in the lead up to this. So the only other question really is whether Rollins will cash in. I personally don't think he should. I think if you're going to do it, I think do it the next night on Raw. Finish the show off with Rollins cashing in. It could be that they don't even know at the moment what they're going to do. It could just be that they have Rollins waiting sort of backstage, and they might judge it on the crowd reaction. Vince is always really adamant that he likes to send people home happy. If Reigns gets the win over Lesnar and you just hear resounding boos everywhere, that's not a good way to end the show. So that could be a chance to send Rollins out there just to kind of get the crowd up again. But if the reaction is generally okay and people generally seem to be happy enough with Reigns as the champion, then let him have his Mania moment. Let him celebrate, and then next day maybe launch off into Reigns versus Rollins. That's just my prediction. I don't think Rollins should do it tomorrow if he's going to do it at all. So guys, let me know what you think about WrestleMania. Are you excited for the show? What do you think of the build-up so far? Do you agree with my predictions? What do you think is going to happen in some of these big matches? And check out my blog site, the Wrestling Guardian. Put a link in the description box for you. Just kind of getting back into reviewing wrestling on YouTube. I used to do it a few years before, but then kind of lost interest in it. So I hope you all enjoy tomorrow, whatever you're doing, whether you're having a WrestleMania party or whatever. But just try and enjoy it for what it is. I know it's not been the best sort of build up that we've ever seen, but who knows? They could surprise us, and it could be one of the best sort of in-ring manias that we've had in a long time. Let's hope so, anyway. Okay, cheers guys, thanks.